What's up everyone, Lex DeVille here, and in this video I am reviewing Jiu-Jitsu Tournament Organization, of course affiliated with the Jiu-Jitsu YouTube channel. I will leave a link in the description if you're unfamiliar with Jiu-Jitsu, so you can go check out his channel. This tournament was a really cool event, and if you have the chance to participate in a Jiu-Jitsu tournament, you probably should go check it out. They only come around here, Branson, Missouri, about once per year, so I definitely had to jump in with that. It is a sub-only event for the most part, and it is pretty well run, I thought. It is about a medium-sized event. I think it had about 600 competitors at ours. So what was the event like? Well, from the start, I signed up through Smooth Comp. I registered. Pricing is about average. I want to say it was like $95 or something for early registration. You can sign up for the seminar if you want. That's the day after with, I think Chewy does the seminar. And then I did not sign up for that this time, but that is out there and available. Once you sign up, you get some emails before the tournament, things like how to reduce stress and anxiety on the day of, what to eat the day of the tournament, stuff like that. They also do push day before weigh-ins, so most of the people did thankfully weigh in the day before. Lots of benefits to that, so that when I showed up and I weighed in on the day of, there was no line at all. Check-in was easy breezy, got my wristband and walked in to the room. Inside the venue, it was a good size. Off to the left, there was a merchandise booth. I did buy a Jiu-Jitsu hoodie, and it is very, very comfy. And it's probably the most comfy hoodie that I've ever purchased in my whole life. It looks like this. On the back, it says something like "no taps given." Just a super comfy hoodie. Hopefully you were able to see that. So what was the actual event like? Well, first of all, let me say that Chewy does show up to these events. He did show up in person. He did talk to competitors. He was more than happy to take photos with anybody who wanted them. I did get a chance to meet him. I did not get a photo with him, but he is as cool in person as he is on his YouTube channel. So that is very cool overall. The tournament itself, again, is sub-only, except for the kids, like the beginner white belts and gray white belts under certain ages. There are options for points versus submissions if you just want your child to compete for points. The event is run with Madison bracketing, which is, the idea is to reduce stress on competitors by not having traditional bracketing. I thought the Madison bracketing was a little bit confusing and led to some confusion, and also actually led to some stress. So just something to throw out there. But the way Madison bracketing works is you essentially have all competitors, let's say all adult competitors, in one bracket. So there might be 30, 40 competitors, but then they break them down into groups of 5, and that's going to be the competitors who are nearest in like weight class and belt color and stuff like that. So I ended up having 4 matches in the adult group, which was pretty cool. I like getting a lot of matches like that. 4 matches in the adult. I had 3, I think, in the Masters. I won gold in my adult division. And then because I had competed in a second division, I was eligible for a champion belt. And so once I had competed in that second division, I also got the champion belt for winning gold in the first division. So you compete in 2 divisions to be eligible for the belt. And if you win one of those divisions, you get a champion belt. Very cool. Otherwise, you just get your regular gold, silver, bronze medals. Those are all out there for you. So things I liked about the event, first of all, there were warm-up mats, and there was good space for that. Second of all, the mats themselves were not grouped in that, the rows of 2 that you normally see at tournaments. They were actually spread out around the room in kind of a big circle with the staff in the center and the main table up front, which made getting access for questions and stuff very easy. Also, them being spread out in a circle minimize the amount of times that you're rolling into other mats so that you don't have as many resets, which was also nice. There was spectator seating around the outside of the mats, and that was good, so not everybody had to stand up, and there were quite a few people in this room. There were about 600 competitors, so you can guess maybe 3 times as many people in total in the room. One downside that I saw here was that there were no barriers between the mats and the spectators. So you did have spectators right up next to the mats, and this created a little bit of confusion, especially since there was no specific coach seating. Coaches were just seated at the corners of the mat. So in the future, I would like to see some barriers in between the spectators just to reduce the chaos and reduce the stress on the competitors who are trying to make their way to the mats. But that said, it was overall a good setup. all of the matches were live streamed through Smooth Comp or through like an app through Smooth Comp. You did have to pay $20 if you want access to those live streams, but for us who have family at home, it was worth it and they did pay for that. Plus, those live streams are recorded on there and you can later go back and watch your matches from the angle of that live stream camera. Also, this is good if you have to challenge something and you did not have anyone recording your matches. Well, you can at least refer to those live stream matches later on, which I did have to do for one of my matches where a scorekeeper attributed my win to my opponent, and my opponent had already left by the time we realized it, so they could not come back and confirm that yes, indeed, I did win that match. So instead, I went to the live stream recordings and showed, like, here's me getting my hand raised multiple times against each of these opponents, and here's the one that where I won that match, but the win went to the wrong person. So Jiu-Jitsu did fix that, and I was really happy about that. Mad respect to them for doing that. So the main issues I had were with the Madison bracketing. There was a little bit of late bracketing. The brackets weren't totally built on the day of, and so things were running a little bit behind. I think that that could be improved in the future. Personally, I would prefer the normal tournament registration. I just like to see who my opponents are. I like to see what I'm up against. I don't really care for the Madison bracketing style, but you know, some people probably like it better. It also did lead to some confusion for the kids brackets where it wasn't completely clear for some of us whether our kid was in a points only match or whether they were in a submission only match. I signed my daughter up for submission only for both gi and no gi, I thought, but somehow she ended up doing points match for no gi. And then when we went over to gi, I thought she was still in points matches, and she got subbed immediately by an arm bar that we weren't expecting because we thought there were no submissions in that match. So there was just a little bit of confusion there. Something to maybe watch out for if you are a parent of a young child in one of those youngest age groups where they might happen to be in a points division, or they might also be in a submission division. Overall, the tournament was a lot of fun. The energy level was super high. Again, it was just a great time. They had fun, loud music. Everybody was in good spirits. People were walking away with great medals. And I don't know, I guess maybe other things to know. They did all of the kids matches before the adult matches, so kids were all finished by the time the adults started. Second, they did all of the no-gi matches in each level before they did the gi matches, which I really appreciate because gi or no-gi is more exhausting in my opinion than gi for the most part. So overall, it was ran well. It was a good event. They only come to Branson, Missouri like once per year, so I only get to do it once this year. But I did have a good time, and I had a lot of really good matches, and I would definitely be happy to come back again. So let me know your thoughts in a comment down below if you watch this. If you competed at Jiu-Jitsu, what were your thoughts on it? Do you have any areas where you think they could improve, or anything that I missed that maybe I should address in a future video? That's all my thoughts on this one for this time. Good job, good work, Jiu-Jitsu, and the whole Jiu-Jitsu organization. I'm Lex DeVille. I'll see you next time.